All right, let's talk more about the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil, a pro-Palestinian activist who was arrested, I believe, this past Saturday. He wasn't charged with any crime. If you haven't seen my other videos, I recommend watching them because I kind of go over the evidence, or I guess a lack of evidence, because there is no actual evidence or proof that he has any links to any pro-terror groups or has organized any pro-terror violent protest or anything like that. Let me make that clear. He is, I think, 30 years old. He is a immigrant from Syria. He has his master's from Columbia University. He also, I think, has a bachelor from a foreign university. I don't remember the name, in computer science. He is married and lives with his wife, who is 8 months pregnant. So he's about to have a kid, and he is a permanent green card resident. And he was arrested. They came out and said, like, no, he didn't. We don't have any crime we're charging him with. We have reason to believe that he is involved with pro-Hamas groups and pro-terrorist groups. I've researched this so many times this past week, and there is no credible evidence. None. Anyways, we're going to have some immigration experts weigh in around the case, and let's see what they say. I haven't read this beforehand. The arrest of Mahmoud Khalil, a green card holder and former Columbia University student involved in pro-Palestinian campus protests in 2024, is raising questions about the right of permanent residence in the United States. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents arrested Khalil, a lawful U.S. resident married to an American citizen, in New York on March 8th, and he is currently being held in Louisiana. They took his ass the whole way to Louisiana. Khalil has not been charged with a crime. The Trump administration argues it can deport him on foreign policy grounds. Here's what to know about the rights of green card holders. What is a green card? A green card, or a permanent resident card, allows non-citizens to live and work permanently in the United States. Individuals can be eligible for a green card through family, employment, refugee status, and other reasons. Most green cards are valid for 10 years and then need to be renewed, similar to how U.S. citizens need to renew their passports. The card expires, but the residency does not expire, he said, adding, if a card is not renewed, there could be ramifications because you have to maintain the registration, but the status itself never expires, assuming the person complies with the law. How can a green card be revoked? There are a number of reasons why an individual could lose their green card and be deported. Any green card holder can be subject to deportation depending on the situation. Most cases occur because a green card holder commits a crime, including violent crimes, marriage fraud, controlled substance abuse, and other offenses. If they are convicted, they typically, after they serve their sentence in the U.S., they would face removal proceedings that involve going before an immigration judge. A person can also lose their permanent resident statuses because of substantial charges of immigration fraud in the immigration process. People whose green cards are being revoked are typically given a notice to appear before an immigration judge. They have the opportunity to either contest why they should be allowed to keep their status or concede that their status can be taken away. Lawful permanent residents can't be stripped of their status in the United States without due process. The severity of the crime may affect the judge's decision. In cases of violent crimes, deportation becomes nearly automatic, Leopard said. In some cases, an individual may be able to ask a judge to cancel their deportation. The judge would have to decide whether the person's conviction is outweighed by other considerations, such as community ties, family ties, or their work in the U.S., he explained, but added that doesn't apply for every case. The procedure for how a green card holder's status could be revoked is set by the Immigration and Nationality Act. Under the Act, green card holders do not need to be convicted of a crime to be deported. Jacqueline Kelly Widmer, an immigration law professor at Cornell Law School, told the Associated Press, for example, if there are reasonable grounds to believe they engaged in or are likely to engage in terrorist activities, they could be deported. So that is exactly what the Trump administration is trying to claim. They're not even trying to say he did any crimes or anything violent. They are exclusively saying that he has links to pro-Hamas groups or just just terrorist groups in general. That's not my words. That's straight from the Trump admin's mouth. Typically, if they stay out of the United States for more than a year, their status will be challenged when they come back. Green card versus citizenship. A green card holder is not a citizen. They would become a naturalized citizen. They would need to apply and meet various requirements. Do green card holders have the same rights as U.S. citizens? Everyone in the United States is protected by the U.S. Constitution. That's funny. This includes green card holders, visa holders, and undocumented immigrants. But unlike citizens, green card holders are susceptible to being removed if they violate their status in the U.S. What is the Immigration and Nationality Act? The Immigration and Nationality Act is a set of immigration law provisions enacted in 1952. The act includes numerous grounds for deportation, including a provision that says a non-citizen whose presence or activities in the United States, the Secretary of State has reasonable ground to believe that would have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the United States is deportable. And that's the exact argument that they are going to make regarding this guy. This guy, he has been involved with pro-Palestinian protest. Don't let the right or even the left fool you, because they both do it. Pro-Palestinian does not equal pro-Hamas. It does not equal pro-terror. At most, you'll see one or two dipshits in these rallies who will graffiti some Hamas symbol, and then the entire protest, everyone in it is instantly considered Hamas. So, pro-Palestinian or anti-genocide, as a lot would call it, protests are basically saying, hey, what Israel is doing in Gaza, the sheer amount of civilians, innocent women and children that have been killed, is in the fact that the entire city, over 80% of the buildings are completely leveled, and they've cut off fuel, food, water, electricity. They're saying, hey, like, we get it. Hamas is bad, but like, at some point, you gotta limit civilian casualties. And these protests are only getting more fuel when you have Trump coming out and saying, we're gonna occupy Gaza, kick all the native inhabitants out, and rebuild it and not let them back in. Like, do you not see any issue with that? And why it's kind of reasonable, very reasonable, to protest that. And that's what this guy was doing. I searched high and low. There is no credible evidence or public evidence that he is linked to any pro-terror group. So yeah, that the justification is going to be, he's adverse to our foreign policy and there's going to be consequences, blah, 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 blah. That's ridiculous. And this completely goes against the First Amendment. And dipshit Republicans would be like, well, yeah, I mean, they said he's a terrorist and the law says if they think he's a terrorist, they can deport him. Okay. Like, use your brain. Go actually do the research and look, and even look at their own words. This is a statement to other pro-Palestine protesters. Hey, you shouldn't protest or there are going to be consequences. They said this is the blueprint. You don't have to agree with the protest. You can be full Zionist, pro-Israel all you want. But, like, do you have principles? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Like, if there was, let's say we were in a perfect world and some lefty who is pro-Palestine and wants to end a genocide there gets in power and they say, hey, we're pausing weapons to Israel, okay? That's my policy. That's my perfect policy idea. Pause weapons to Israel and force them to come to the table and stop genociding. Let's say that happens, and then you have a bunch of protests break out of, pro-Israeli activists saying, hey, resume the weapons, whatever. Never in a million years would I try to deport, let's say, some Israeli who's here on a green card for organizing that kind of protest, as long as it wasn't a violent protest or any actual crimes being committed in the, like, even though I full-heartedly disagree with you, never in a million years would I try to deport you or make an example out of you. Remember, this dude is married and his wife is 8 months pregnant. What happened to family values? This dude is living He is being the perfect American. He lives with his wife. He's married. A girl, a woman. They had sex. She got pregnant. She's about to have a kid. And they're going to deport him back to Syria. Syria is not a good place right now. It's a bit in shambles. Like, and how do you think, imagine the stress and the well-being of the pregnant wife. And like, could you imagine, do you think this is good for her pregnancy? You think this is good for the child in the womb? I thought you guys cared about family values. You want to send this guy back to Syria 1 month before his wife is about to give birth to a kid, his kid, or at least I hope. That is insane, and I don't know how people just don't get it. I'm gonna crash out the next comment I see defending this shit, okay? Like, it's so dumb. We already know he's being held in Louisiana. I've already blabbed enough. Article's over. Please, just don't take their word for it. Go background check this guy. Do some actual research. And you're going to find, like, hey, I think they're trying to make an example out of him. And all these claims they're making about him, I can't find anything to actually back it up. Insane, man. Like, have a freaking heart. Have some kind of empathy or for compassion. This dude is not a criminal, and he's not organizing pro-Hamas protests, and he's not linked with Hamas. Let me know what you think in the comment sections down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.